last left off, Spear and Mira and Fang were leaving the Vikings encampment. They had become the villains of the Viking story. And so they set off on one of the Vikings' boat and set up across to go home, or wherever it is they're going. I'm guessing they're trying to make it their way back home. And that made me wonder, like, how can Spear find his way back home? Can he navigate? He's never been in the ocean before, but anyway, that's for another time. And then they are attacked by the son and the father, who lost their entire village to these guys. It's so nice to see them all relaxing on the boat. Fang is the one that hears something first. Mira is sleeping and so is Spear. And Spear starts to smell something too. It's such an interesting perspective because from here, it helps to give us an idea how more evolved and advanced Spear is when it comes to physicality. The animal can detect danger before he can. He can detect danger right after the animal can, and Mira is still sleeping. After she hears Spear get up, Mira joins Spear in getting ready for the danger. I don't know exactly what it is they smell. Maybe they just sense something in the air. Maybe it's the movement in the water. Maybe it's something they hear, but they specifically smelled whatever it was. So they can smell something familiar and dangerous, and we all know that the Vikings are part of that danger. After all, they bathed themselves in the blood of these people before they left. So if there's something that they would recognize, it would be Viking blood or Viking flesh. You can see the madness in the face of that father. From his perspective, he is exacting revenge on these people. You have to also figure that the Viking were seafaring people. They're good when it comes to navigating the waters. I'm sure Spear, probably Mira is helping him, but the Vikings, this is their way of life. This is what they do. So it was only a matter of time before they found Spear and Fang. And they're not just going after them to enslave them now. They're going after them for revenge. They didn't just kill one of their family members. They killed his wife, his small child, and his entire town and family members. This guy and his son are running on John Wick energy right now. What's really interesting is how Spear has found his match. Of all the Vikings and the warriors that he fought by himself or alongside Fang in the Viking encampment, this one person, he cannot keep up with this person. And maybe it's because he's half asleep, but I don't think that's what it is. Spear has faced off against enemies before, but this father might have been the chieftain of that village because, oh my goodness, he's really giving Spear a run for his money. Yeah, Spear is realizing, shit, this guy can fight. Oh no. But Spear, credit to him where credit is due, he knows how to dodge those attacks very well. It's so cool to see Mira fighting alongside them. She is now officially one of the pack members, but I feel so bad for them because it's like, okay, this whole family was slaughtered, and Spear and Fang, they're evil. What have they done? They have become the villains that actually were responsible for taking away their family members. Those two Rexes in the Red Mist that had killed Spear's family, and Fang's family was also killed by those creatures. Now they are the very thing that ended up wiping away their family. They're the boogeyman of somebody else's story, as those Red Rexes were to their families. But it's so unfair because they were trying to leave. Like, these people also kept Mira and her people as slaves. So it's like, okay, they're fighting back. And yes, it was a big discussion because there was a point where Spear and Fang were trying to leave and the people were fighting them. Like, they were like, no, you killed a whole bunch of our people already. We're going to take you down. Even if they wanted to leave, because you got to figure for the Viking people, if they didn't kill Spear and Fang, just from their perspective, these people who came and already killed lots of their family members probably will come back and kill the rest. Like, what would you do if you were in a situation where you had a village and let's just say that whoever came in, you keeping animals as pets, is savage. Like, now nobody thinks of it. And somebody did say that in the comments. It was really cool discussion that we were having. But what if 10,000 years from now, they look back at our history or their history and see what we used to do, and see that we used to keep dogs as pets, or chimpanzees, or octopi, and those animals are super intelligent. Then they're like, ew, that's barbaric. They actually walked them on leashes. They fed them the same thing every day. They kept them as pets and made them do tricks and bred them so that they couldn't breathe into these horrible mutations that had short faces and died early and slow agonizing deaths just because they wanted a dog that looked cool. That's so disgusting. They deserved what they got. Not saying it's right, but ethics is one of those things, you know? Like, we know now, objectively, that it is wrong to own other people, to buy and sell other people, members of your own kind. But we are the same people who own dogs and chop their balls off and stuff and sterilize them, and we're like, no, we're doing it for their own good. And we're like, no, but they're just animals. They're beneath us. They need us to take care of them. But later down the line, do you think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like night and day right now, but I'm just trying to draw a perspective on how people probably thought. Doesn't excuse it, maybe, but try to understand it, because I'm sure there's a lot of shit that we're doing nowadays that people in the future will think is just disgusting and savage. And if we were born in that time, we would be disgusted in ourselves as well. That being said, from the Vikings' point of view, they're living their lives doing what they're doing, bringing home their quote-unquote pets or whatever to sell so they can survive. And then this guy comes. From their perspective, Spear isn't rescuing Mira, he's stealing from them. And just hear me out. Just hear me out. It sounds stupid, but from your perspective, if PETA jumped over your fence, let's say you owned horses or you own dogs or whatever, and they're outside and they're running around, and you're just watching them from your backyard, and you're like, oh, they're playing, but PETA does not believe that you should own dogs, and they jump over your yard and take one of your dogs away or let them free so they can roam or just steal them. From your perspective, they're stealing what? Your property, because your dog is considered your property, right? It's sad, but that's what they consider animals as. They don't consider them as humans or as creatures that have rights like we do. They consider them as property. So it's like, okay, you've just stolen that property. My dog belongs to me. But PETA sees it, or the person who works for PETA or an activist is like, no, I'm setting them free. I'm giving them a loving home. I don't like the fact that you tell them no, and you're making them do tricks like a circus animal. They should live their true lives. I'm going to put them in a sanctuary for feral dogs. And you may say all the things like, well, we raised them from captivity here. They love us. They're part of our family. Yeah, because you took them from their family when they were 8 weeks old. You took them from their mom when they were barely weaned off her breast. So you could use, they can use all the same arguments that people would use back then for slavery. Doesn't make it right. But it's one of those things. Back in the day, Old Testament style, it was okay to stone people to death if they didn't agree with you or the religion. Let's just be honest here. The ethics are something that you have to put into question when we talk about a whole village of people being killed, when you base it off of the line of morality as it pertains to today in modern times. So just trying to see from the villain's point of view, because I know a lot of people were talking about that, and I completely understand where they were coming from, but I understand. I'm just saying I understand from the Vikings' perspective, how he feels. It is the same reason why a lot of us who watch the show Vikings, awesome show by the way, felt for Ragnar. And we forget that Ragnar Lothbrok and his people were raiding innocent people, violating their women, and keeping slaves. Yeah, everyone forgets that. That just goes right over their head because we're like, oh, Ragnar, he's a freaking badass, man. Floki's a freaking badass. And everyone forgets that Ragnar is a Viking, and he was also doing all the same things that the people in this show were doing. But nobody was calling death on Ragnar. Just some minor hypocrisy. They show us these little teasers because you have no idea what's going to happen next. You're just looking at this and you're like, oh shoot, Mira's going to try and fight. And now Mira's fighting for her freedom because she doesn't want to go back in chains. She's like, no, I just made it out. I don't want to go back with you. I will die first. I will fight and die first. And now that she has Fang by her side, now she knows she has a chance. If it was her by herself, I think she would still fight this kid. But she's probably looking at it as, okay, I can surrender and probably die or have worse happen to me, or I can utilize the big ass T-Rex that I have next to me and fight this thing, this dude. I gotta say, it's so cute watching Mira roar like that with her war cry. I really hope that Spear is okay, because I can say that Spear is a good person. He hasn't done anything wrong. Spear is literally just minding his own business, and I think the only thing that he's done wrong as of late was end up in the wrong place. He went after this woman. His life would have been fine if he had left her and been like, oh, well, she was a slave before. Guess they took her back. But no, he went across the sea to go and save her. And I cannot blame him because she's his friend. And these people are doing what he believes is wrong. You should not be owning another human being. You took her from her village, took her from her home, so that you could sell her to someone else. Like she's not a living person. Went across the sea to go to another country to enslave some other people. That's really messed up. So of course, Spear's like, no, I'm taking her back. To hell with that. Even though from the slaver's point of view, it's like, well, she doesn't belong to you. But anyway, I thought this was freaking badass. And this makes me want to see it even more. If you guys haven't watched Primal, you should definitely give it a go. It's a show that makes you ask so many questions and also enjoy the visual appeal and the story, the character arcs, the animation. Like, there's everything about the show is just freaking top tier A1. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.